I maintained my pace. I was doing pretty well up until I actually, when I looked at my split times, my 6K, 10K time was actually a PR for me. And then my half marathon time, my 13.1 mile time was pretty much on point for the half marathon that I ran a couple weeks back. So I thought I was doing pretty well with time, but I was getting tired around that point. Sleepy. My body was fine, but I was sleepy. I think the tiredness of the lack of sleep was catching up with me. So shortly after that, we run into the Cliff shots. They were handing those out. And like I said, I try not to try anything new, but I was sleepy and this thing said espresso. So I'm thinking, maybe it's just like coffee. So I held on to it for a while, but as I was getting more and more sleepy, I finally said, let me give it a shot. And I took it slowly. I just took a little bit, see how it would do with my stomach. It was fine. I kept along the way and I took the whole thing. So at this point, I'm still tired, but I'm counting down to mile 19 because I got a text message from one of my running friends that said the running group would be at around mile 19. I knew my family was coming, had no idea when or where they would pop up, but I knew at around mile 19, my running group would be there. So I'm like counting down to mile 19. Around mile 16 is when it really got like bad for me. I was tired. I got to the water stop. Like I said, that was the only time I would allow myself to stop. So I'm waiting for each water stop so I can at least get a point to walk. So I'm at mile 16. I walk around mile 16. I stop. I stretch. I text my husband. I said, what the heck was I thinking? I didn't realize that would kind of alarm him a little bit. He responded back, are you okay? But I'm fine. But I'm like, what was I thinking? You keep seeing these signs. Remember why you're doing this. Remember why you're doing this. And I'm thinking, I don't know why. Why am I doing this again? I really had to ask myself because it's like, seriously, what the heck are you thinking? Then I remembered, one of the reasons why I set out to do this. Number one, it was for myself. I did want to do this. I've been wanting to run a marathon since I saw Oprah run a marathon. And primarily at that point, it was because I wanted to lose weight. I remember hearing her producer lost 90 pounds in the process of losing weight. So I wanted to lose 90 pounds. Little did I know running alone is not going to do it. You have to change your eating habits and all that, blah, 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 blah. So, but this fitness journey that I've been on has definitely not been just for myself, but for my daughters. If I can do anything to help them not to go through the same thing that I went through in life, that's definitely why I'm doing this. So eventually I remembered that. Didn't remember it right away as I'm reading those signs, but eventually I remembered for my daughters. I saw this other sign that said, keep swimming, and it reminded me of my son because he always says stuff like, what the mess? I don't know where he gets that from, but that's the exact thing that came to my head when I see the sign, keep swimming, when we're out here running. What the mess? So I kept swimming, I guess. So I kept running along the way. Anywho. So around mile 16, after the water break, I started back running again. I was kind of nervous because I thought I wouldn't know if I was going to be able to continue to run because I felt that bad. Then as I'm running, I see this lady in the yellow shirt that said Biggest Loser. Like, let me see if I can catch up with this lady. So I caught up with her. I said, were you in The Biggest Loser? She says, yes. I asked her what her name was. Her name was Lauren. I didn't watch this season for whatever reason, but I didn't. And she told me she had lost 85 pounds. And I told her, awesome. And I told her I lost 65 pounds. She said, awesome. So we talked a little bit. This was her fourth half marathon. She was saying how rough this was. And I'm like, exactly. So we kept, she went on her way. Then I saw the monument, and finally, I'd seen the monument a couple times, and I wanted to take pictures, but like I said before, I was just too caught up on finishing. So I stopped, took my phone out of my sleeve, and took a picture in front of the monument, and kept going. And I ran around the monument, and before I knew it, I saw two of my friends at mile 18. I was so excited to see them. I'm jumping up and down. I'm excited. That took a little bit of energy out of me because I was like too excited. I kept running, and a little bit later, I see my son and my daughter up on top. One daughter, then my son, my husband, my mom, and then that was very exciting. Then as I'm running past, I hear mommy, and I'm like, because I didn't see the other daughter. That was I had so much fun seeing them. It was so much of a blessing to see them on the course. So continue running down, and I'm like, okay. There was a water stop. Actually, it was a water stop before I saw my family. After I saw my friends, there was a water stop. And I, like I said, continued my pattern of walking the water stops. But I had to be careful in my mind because I didn't want my running friends to see me walking through these water stops. Because how are they going to know I was just walking the water stops? They're not going to know this. They think I was walking this whole thing, right? So I hurried up, drank my water, kept running. But then I saw them, and oh my gosh, it was like so amazing to see. It was like a lot of them standing there, super, super excited to see me. Just gave me this big burst of energy to help me push through. So I'm excited past them. And then it dawns on me, I see this 20-mile marker that I beat the bridge. That was one thing that I was concerned about through my training is beating this bridge, beating this bridge. But then I looked and I'm like, well, where's the bridge? I don't know. For some reason, I expected to be, I don't know, a drawbridge, something that was going to say, because they said if you didn't make it to that point at a certain time, they were going to turn you around. So I'm thinking it would be more, you know, impactful. Like, okay, here's where you need to meet. But anyway, it wasn't. But I beat it, so I was excited. Then I was a little bit nervous because I'm thinking 20 miles is as far as I went in training. And I recall Hal Higdon's program. When I finished those 20 miles, I could barely walk to my car. But his training said, don't worry. If you finish the 20 miles this week, you will cruise 26.2 in 3 weeks after tapering. So I was feeling pretty great around that point. So I was like, okay, I guess he knew what he was talking about. So everything was fine. I was coasting along mile 20, and then around, let's see, 22. Well, actually, as we're moving 20, we're heading into Crystal City now. I guess that's the bridge. So look like we're going up an exit ramp or something, if I recall. But we're going into Crystal City, which I thought was really cool to be running on that highway that I've driven on many times driving into Crystal City. Never thought I would be running on that highway. So that was fun. Then around mile 22, I remember coming, seems like through an exit ramp or something. But as we're coming down, I see these donuts over there. I'm like, donuts. But you see the other runners coming this way. So it looked like we were just going down and we're going to do a loop to come back up. Not so much. It took about 2 miles to get back to that looping point to get to the donuts. By then I didn't want them. By then I was exhausted and my headphones had died. So that was the end of my music, and those were the longest 2 miles of my life ever. I tried to tell myself, Safari, you just did 2 miles yesterday. This is 2 miles. No problem. Took you 20 minutes to do 2 miles yesterday. I'm sure it probably had to take me like a half hour or so to run those 2 miles. But it was horrible. That now that my headphones are out, I'm hearing people and they're, the crowd is great. But I don't know what it is about the whole beer thing. Number one, I don't drink beer, but I see it almost all the races do it for the beer, and the beer is at the end of the corner, and this, that, and the other. So this lady says, do it for the beer. I said, I don't drink beer. The other lady was, I said, I need a different incentive. They need to find something that's going to help me, that's going to make me feel like keep going because of X. I don't know what that X is because I don't know if there's anything that's going to really push me to that finish line like that, but beer is definitely not it. So mile 25, yeah, I'm definitely looking at my headband here thinking, where's the finish line? But actually, mile 26 once I finally get to it. And running down mile 26, I'm like, okay, point 2 can't be that far. Where's the finish line? Where's the finish line? So finally, I spot the finish line. Shortly after spotting the finish line, I spot a hill. I'm thinking, whose great idea was it to put this big, huge hill right in front of the finish line? So I took a deep breath, and then I started trekking up the hill. And as I look up, I see my son Christopher and one of my daughters. I don't remember which one he had, but I see them, and I'm like, hi, and I see them. But then I try not to get emotional because every time I get emotional, I lose my breath. So here I am. I'm seeing this finish line, and I'm almost about to start crying. I had to compose myself because I couldn't breathe. Because I'm excited. I'm emotional. I can't believe I'm running this marathon. And I'm completing the marathon. So I finally get through the finish line, and I made it. And I broke down into tears. But I held myself together a little bit. Got up, got my medal, was so super, super excited. And I am now officially a marathoner. So The one thing that I can say about this whole thing is it's an awesome experience. It's something that um, it takes a lot of hard work to do, but to never doubt yourself. If you want to do something, do it, and the sky's the limit no matter what it is. I remember through training when I almost quit because I felt like I was defeated. It felt like, I shouldn't be running a marathon. Even when I'm out there now and I'm looking, I'm not built like the average runner. I weigh 181 pounds. I'm in a size 12, sometimes a size 10. But I'm not the average marathon runner, but I am a marathoner. So I guess that's all that matters. But don't doubt yourself. Believe in yourself, and whatever you set your mind to do, you can do. So thank you for being there for me and following me along this journey. And good luck to you and all your goals.